Hey, what's going on? I'm Spute. Recently, there's been some tension between Max G, also known as Hotdiggetydemon, and the Walten Files community, but more specifically, a voice actor from said series, Kyle DeNigris. They voice act as Buzu. I think that's how you say it. To get into context, Max was watching the series on a stream and taking notes. That's the footage I'm playing here. He did this once with Skibbity Toilet as well. Most of the stream was filled with some stupid, lighthearted jokes and fair criticism, but what people were mad about came around the very end of stream. When the credits were rolling on one of the last videos he watched that stream, he was making fun of names. For instance, there was someone named Martin Paradis, and Max said Paradis nuts. And when Kyle DeNigris' name popped up, Max initially was surprised and then said, I can't make fun of names my whole life, but sometimes it's just too easy. If you haven't caught on by now, he's referring to how DeNigris almost looks like the N-word, a racial slur. Kyle didn't like that and posted his frustration on Twitter saying, "Oh, genuinely fuck off, you high schooler." That's gonna piss me off for a while. I'm actually mad. I heard that shit for years in high school, and of all people to bring it back up, it's someone who inspired me to do animation. Fuck off. People caught wind of this and then prompted Max in the chat to apologize. In response to that, he said, "You're the one with that last name. I'm not accountable here." Kyle also did not enjoy that, stating on Twitter, "It's not on me. You shouldn't have that name. You're an ass. You were one of my inspirations for animating, and you can't even apologize without doubling down. Grow up." This continues, so I'm just going to read all of it. To anyone saying I need to grow up or toughen up, realize that not only was he someone important to a key part of what I do, but also he decided to double down on the joke once people asked him to apologize on my behalf. He chose to double down, mocking my name in a racial way. Shocking to me how people think comparing my name to a super hateful slur is the lightest of razzings and mocking me amongst his fan base. These people are children and have no empathy for anyone unless it's someone they actively worship. And then he supplies a screenshot. Again, do not attack him, harass him, do anything to him. He hurt me and that should be the end of it. If he wishes to apologize, I want it to be on his own volition, not because of a hate mob. Be better than how he acted. Just repeating for the record, do not start attacking anyone. Yes, the situation sucks, but realize that pain is not healed by inflicting further pain. You only made things worse. Use your anger to channel into something good for art, passion, for anything, but not hate. Did I get heated in this thread? Absolutely, and I'm sorry. It may not seem like much, but Max meant a lot to my journey as an animator. It stinks being thrown to the side because my name looks bad. I've had every other inspiration I've met show kindness and warmth. That stung. I'll be muting this thread now. I'm sorry for my public raving. It's been a weird night. Please, whatever you do with your life, treat everyone with kindness and respect. Be the best you're capable of. You're worth all the love you get. One final thing, as I'm seeing confusion, he didn't mispronounce my name. In fact, he's one of the few who got it right, DeNigris. What I took issue with was the comparison to a harmful slur. That should never be okay. And that's where it all ends. At the time of writing this, Max hasn't responded. And this is where I should probably bring up my piece, since I actually watch Max regularly, and I feel as if I'm pretty familiar with what he does and how he does it. So, Kyle states multiple times that Max has been an inspiration to their animating journey, which, hey, we can relate to that. It's never stated how long or long ago this has been for, but in all honesty, dude, Max is just like this. He's always been like this. In a video posted only 5 years ago, the Apu that I know, he makes jokes about Mario enjoying different stereotypical race foods depending on what race he is. Like, there was one where he, switched to black skin, and he was like... Watermelon. I only brought this video up specifically because I have no reference of time as to how long Max has been an inspiration to Kyle, so I brought up the most recent segment of this caliber that I'm aware of. It's evident that Max still makes these kind of jokes. Even though the N-word is obviously a word of hate and should not be taken lightly, with the way that Max puts the joke out, there was absolutely no malice behind it. This joke probably took 2 brain cells to notice and deliver. There's a clear difference between actually being racist and making a joke. Now, look, obviously, you are allowed to be offended by something if you don't like it. Kyle says that this has been a sore spot for years. However, my problem comes from the fact that they publicly vented about this, both on Twitter and apparently in the Walten Files Discord server as well. Considering that they don't supply any rebuttal to the claim that the screenshot that they took in the one message, which says that he was shaking in rage. Why would you not just go to your friends' DMs and vent about this instead of in front of the whole community directly? Did you want to make a scene? Because if you didn't want to make a scene, which is what you stated later on in the thread, you wouldn't have done this in the first place. I understand that he notices this and apologizes, but it rings a little hollow in my eyes considering the apparent sheer amount of seething rage that he's been experiencing. Feels like Kyle went from wanting to beat Max up to immediately being alright and using Max's mistake specifically as a learning experience for anyone tuning in. Almost like someone told him to say it or something. Again, I'm not condoning racism. Why would I do that? But again, Max's tone with the joke, along with the fact that, bro, it's not even that creative of a joke. The fucking parody's nuts one was more clever. If my last name were DeNigris and someone made that joke, I'd be more annoyed at the fact that it took no effort to say that. And even if I was mad about it, I wouldn't go and make a community post ranting about it. Once again, I am not attempting to soften the impact of harmful words used to discriminate. But looking at everything all at once, it's hard to defend Kyle. At this point, Kyle has done more damage to himself in my perspective. If Max would publicly apologize for the joke, I feel more disappointed than anything. Because when the whole story is laid out in front of me, it kind of feels like he doesn't deserve it. The switch from being really pissed off to somewhat okay with it feels so robotic. It doesn't seem legit. I feel like he only came to this conclusion because of the harassment that resulted in this. Now, I haven't experienced or seen it, but the tweets imply that it happened or was starting to happen. I also want to make it clear that as someone in Max's community, I can say that most of his audience are teenage girls. Or at least that's what I gather. And to be fair, I'm not an active member in the Walten Files community, but it's clearly derivative of Five Nights at Freddy's, which would most likely garner the attention of young children. So it's not too outlandish for me to assume that some kind of harassment was starting to take place. Neither community is on the good side here. But that's all I have to say on the matter. Again, I find it hard to place Kyle in the innocent basket, considering his response a really artificial switch up. Jokes are jokes no matter the subject material, and since Max was apparently an inspiration for Kyle in his pursuit of animation, it would be really weird to assume that Kyle didn't know that Max made jokes like these regularly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you some other time.